Have you ever wondered what would happen if Issei was given control over all sacred gears? Like I'm being for like he was given a system to control sacred gears. Well, this what if actually I talk about what if Issei had the sacred gear system? Now I know you guys are probably wondering, Xavier, how actually is Issei gonna get the system of the sacred gears? Like, is that not in heaven? Well, yes, a few things I'm going to be changing in this and how Issei would gain the system and how actually he would have control over all sacred gears as I'll explain in this what if. Let's hop right into it. Starting this actually what if off, how would Issei gain actually the system of the sacred gears that's in heaven? Well, I believe that the system in heaven would recognize actually like the abuse of use of actually the sacred gears that God created, and like it also would see actually like the people of other faction would actually use actually the sacred gears for their own faction and taking the humans or even actually subduing them, robbing the sacred gears, things like that. And the system would analyze all this and like it would say like no more here. So the system needed to like shut down because actually there was too many glitches, too many problems, too many bugs, and too many humans were being actually put in harm's way. So of course the system needed to be changed. It needed to find itself a new host, right? It's like you having like a broken microwave, right? When you put some if you put a plate inside a microwave, it's not the plate's fault. It's the microwave itself here. So the system needed to find a new host, right? So pretty much actually he would be thinking, well, it would be thinking, what would be the perfect host to wield all this power it has? And after that, it got an idea. The system will remember God, the biblical actually God, his father, his creator, went down in human form into actually a human called Jesus, and he was performing miracles in the world. And that's what the system would actually have in mind. He will actually place actually himself into a human body. So that's what it would do. So the system will go offline, shut itself down for about 8,000 years, finding the right perfect host. After 8,000 years will pass, the system will find itself this new host in a body, in a child called Issei Kyoto. Now immediately once Issei is born, he wasn't born with actually just extraordinary amount of powers, no. When Issei reaches the age of 5 or 6, this is where he will gain consciousness, where actually he will have actually the consciousness of actually the sacred gear system. Like this is where Issei will actually know what the sacred gears are. He's able to control them. He's able to summon them. He wouldn't actually have actually problems using it, right? He would know actually like the users of it and like all the memories, the details, actually the programming of what his father did, aka the biblical God. So Issei will actually have it all. Now Issei is not busted like that, like straight up the rip. No, Issei has awareness of the sacred gear and which he can summon them, but that doesn't mean Issei can randomly use them, because actually remember he's still in a child's body. That's gonna do some damage. So Issei, he would actually learn to actually use the sacred gear for some time, but he won't even go as far to actually training his whole body to the extreme limit for him to handle that much power. No, he was just gonna have to find himself actually a teacher capable of actually pushing him throughout that limit. And of course that time would come when Issei reaches the age of 7 or 8 years old, where he will meet actually Irina Shido, and also actually her father Mr. Shido and his wife. And Issei would immediately know that they are exorcists. I mean, Issei would actually already have awareness of that. Like, Issei is not like most kids. Issei adapts to situation and he actually has a mindset like an adult. So actually, Issei will already be aware of who Mr. Shido really is and what his actually job is, and he will ask him to train him to use his sacred gears. And Mr. Shido was shocked by this. He was blown away that Issei has a sacred gear, because nobody has seen a sacred gear for about 8,000 years. And he thinks about this. and it could possibly work. It can possibly work, and he thinks that it will be a great actually asset to the church for. Since actually he has actually like a person who wields the sacred gear, not knowing that Issei wields all sacred gears. Now Mr. Shido, he's different from most people. He wants Issei to make a choice, like he wants Issei to have a free will, like he doesn't want to force this upon Issei. Of course, actually he's not going to put Issei to a extreme amount of training. For right now, he's going to teach him how to use swords, like sword-based actually sacred gears, things like that, like how to use actually a sword, and sword practice, sword play, and all actually the forms of actually swords that he knows that of the church. So he teach Issei that, and of course actually Issei learns this, and he's a fast learner. He will learn actually the move in less than even a day, or even like 3 days, and he will already have to form fully master the technique and everything. And Mr. Shido was taken aback by this, because actually this kid was extremely talented, and of course actually this will go on for about like a few months, and Issei and Irina will grow even closer together. Now Issei is not this machine, he's still human, but he actually thinks like a machine, almost like it here. But during actually one of his training sessions, Issei's actually family will get attacked by actually quote unquote actually some devils, or even like fallen angels, whatever, stray actually devils of course, and they will get sadly massacred, and just leaving actually like the family completely dead. Now once Issei returns home, he is traumatized by this for what he sees, like from what a boy sees or what Issei sees himself. He sees his family dead on the floor, and he sees actually the stray just eating his family alive. And Issei, he doesn't lose his mind. No, he feels anger, yes, but he doesn't go on this whole rage like scenario where actually like, oh freaking kill you, like no. Issei actually just quickly just actually annihilates actually the stray, like completely kills the stray. And he just grieves his actually parents' death. Like he feels so bad because actually they didn't deserve it. Now, Issei realized something, like he can bring them back to life by using the Holy Grail. And he does that, and Issei's parents will be brought back to life. And they will be so confused, like what happened, what actually going on, and this is what Issei would have to tell them about the supernatural world and everything that actually was going on and what actually happened. And of course he will also need to tell Mr. Shido about this, and Mr. Shido will tell them, and they will be blown away that the son was gifted like that, but also he possesses actually multiple sacred gears to bring people back from the dead, possibly even more sacred gears that are even powerful that can even shake this whole supernatural world. And of course they are grateful, and of course actually they would actually continue to actually let Issei get training from Mr. Shido for actually the next actually year. Now during that 1 year, Mr. Shido and Issei will realize that they can't stay in this town, like they simply cannot stay inside this town. They were dragging more attention towards themselves, and a few actually supernatural beings were kind of getting suspicious as they even started to look in. They actually now started to look into this here, and they actually need to move. Now, Mr. Shido doesn't want actually the world to know about Issei, at least not yet. Because actually they find out about Issei right now, and Issei's not prepared to take on the whole supernatural world, of course not. Since actually he's still a kid and he hasn't even fully manifested actually his true powers yet. So of course actually Issei will use Dimension Gate, and he will be able to travel around actually the globe, and he will tell his family about this, and they will agree, of course, and Issei will use Annihilation Makers to actually make some golems of actually God-slaying types golems to protect actually his family. And this is where actually Issei will go with the Shido family, and they will actually travel to actually the next actually place which is safe. And this will go on for about like a few actually years actually. Like they will be traveling all over the globe, and people will try to track them, but at this point they just gave up here. They can't even track actually Issei, because actually each time they get closer he just vanished here. So at this point they will just give up. And during the time, Issei will be learning a lot from Mr. Shido and the people around Mr. Shido, from the other churches and things like that. Now, the churches, of course, they don't know about Issei. Mr. Shido kept that a secret here. He wants actually to train Issei to the point where he's fully ready to defend himself until actually that day comes. He's not saying a single word. Now, Irina during this time will grow closer towards Issei, but eventually she'll be placed actually in a church where she will actually get trained to become an exorcist. Now, years will pass until Issei will reach the age of actually 13 years old. One day, Issei will be actually out and about, and of course he will see actually a scene that really is disturbing for him. Issei will see a girl with blonde hair, green eyes, wearing a nun outfit around his age, as she was actually getting actually stones thrown at her, and of course people were screaming at her to get out of here, that she's a witch. And of course actually behind actually this girl was actually a man on the floor. They were telling actually her to have to get out of here, that she's actually the sons of actually like the demon itself, like the devil. She's a witch, she should burn in hell. And Issei gets in between all of this. He lands in between all of this commotion. He tells them what's the problem that's going on here, and like they see Issei and they don't know who he is. He just came out of nowhere. And of course they ask him, who is he, right? Is he with the witch? And Issei is just so confused, like, the witch? Is she the witch? Like, Issei can't sense any ill intention coming from actually her. She's here good, but the man behind her, aka Deodora, was actually on the ground. And this is where actually they will explain how she actually went ahead and gave water to actually the devil here. She started actually like giving actually care to the devil, right? And Arthea would actually just say that she didn't even know, things like that, right? And they actually start actually saying right there that like that she's actually like the son of actually like the freaking actually like Satan, like she should burn in actually hell, like to get out of here. And Issei just looks at him. He said like, hold up, wait 1 second. Issei will reply back to them by saying this: you judge her for what you have done. For don't you know that you are the servants of the Lord, that you too shall also be judged? Issei hit them with the holy scriptures. Issei replies to them by saying this: you told her to leave the church, for she has committed evil. For don't you know that you have also committed sin as well, so does that make you the sons of evil? For those who come to the Lord and repent of their sins are forgiven, but for those who do not believe actually of repentance are the sons of the devil, Satan. I'm sorry, but Issei hits them with another holy scriptures, like, But overall, actually, the people of the church just looks at Issei, and they look at Arthea, and they're just truly blown away. Issei just hits them with the most holy scriptures, and they rethink what they were gonna do. Issei actually just stands in the middle of actually Arthea and the devil, as the devil grabs Issei's leg, and he just actually thanks him, like he just says thank you, alright? As actually Issei raised his hands towards actually Deodora. Deodora was about to actually reach out, thinking that Issei was lending him a hand, but Issei blasted Deodora, killing him instantly. Arthea looks in shock and she screams, while the other people of the church also was scared of that, because actually they didn't even know that Issei could even obliterate devils like just like that. And Issei looks towards Arthea. He says actually to Arthea that that man was evil, for actually he had blackness in his heart. The reason is Issei has, or Canon Issei had actually this ability to read the memories of umpires. Remember that certain episode? So, but in this time Issei doesn't actually, he doesn't read umpires. No, he can read people's hearts as well. As actually, he saw Deodora's heart, it was blackened, it was so dark. Issei just needed to eliminate him. And of course, Mitsushiro would actually come around and he would ask what's going on, and Issei would explain everything to him. And of course, Mr. Shido would actually like be angry at the church here. He actually just told the church that like, how could you even do that to actually Arthur, and he told actually them that they should actually ask for forgiveness. And of course they did. They actually asked Arthur for forgiveness. They asked the Lord for forgiveness, and of course right there, Arthur actually thanks Issei, and she's really appreciated of what Issei has done. And Issei said like, it's no problem. With this, Issei and actually Mr. Shido will carry on their actually work, and it wasn't just training for the next few months or even the next years. Like, no, Issei would actually help around actually the globe as well, by helping countries who've been actually in wars, people who have been struggling with actually foods and things like that. Like, Issei has been helping around the globe a lot, and people have been giving thanks to heaven, of course, because they think that like all this comes from heaven, of course, which, you know, like, which is half right, which Issei does come from heaven, so yeah, technically, but truth be told, Issei is doing most of the work here. So over actually the years of the time, Issei actually kind of like decides that he wants to go back to school. He tells Mr. Shido that he wants to take a break from all this, and he wants to go back to school. He wants to go to his hometown and go back to school and learn and be around friends. And Mr. Shido says like, yeah, of course, he actually can. He sees him as a son, like a son that he never had, and Issei sees him like a second father. So with this, Issei will teleport them to the church, and at the church they will meet actually Irina there, as Issei would actually tell Irina that he's going back home. Now during the time, Issei and Irina have gained really close. They have become really close, to becoming friends, allies, to eventually lovers at this point here. As actually Issei told actually Irina that she can come and visit him whatever time she likes, or he can come and see her because he can teleport. So with this, the two of them would actually kiss, and they will actually say goodbye, and Issei will return back to his hometown, actually Kuyu actually town, of course. The moment Issei returns back to his hometown, he gets enrolled into Kuyu Academy, and for the 1 year he studies there. Now during the 1 year, Issei is not actually a pervert or anything like this, no, and Issei is not this prince, he's not this king. During the 1 year, Issei was known to be like a big brother. They call him Big Brother Issei throughout that 1 year, because Issei was so kind, he was so loving, and of course he had that energy like a big brother. Like, he also helped actually the perverted duos, Issei's canon best friends, and of course they don't hate Issei, they don't hate him, they see him as this older brother that they can come and talk to. Whatever problems they have, they can come to Issei, and Issei will give great advice, and he will just actually help them. Even the teacher even starts calling him Big Brother sometimes at the time. And of course, this would actually change a lot, because actually the devil would now know of Issei a lot earlier, aka Rias and Sona here. Rias and Sona would keep a watchful eye on Issei, and the reason why they don't approach it is because Issei aura itself. It's like Issei never suppressed his aura before, and Issei's aura is a monstrous. Like, he has this monster aura that they can't even approach him, and even if they do, they're afraid that actually if they say something wrong towards Issei, he would eliminate them. Now Issei is aware of the devil, but he doesn't do anything about it. He doesn't care who they are. Issei knows that actually they are actually like the little sisters of actually like the devil kings. But Issei doesn't really care. If they ever step out of line, Issei will eliminate them from the face of the earth. Now, once Issei reaches his second year, and as Issei is walking home, he will get approached by Yuma, and she will ask Issei out on a date. Now, Issei is not stupid, and he actually tells the fallen angel that he knows who she is, and he tells actually her that if she causes any problem in his hometown, he will eliminate her from the face of the earth while walking away. And Yuma just stays there in shock. She's just blown away that Issei realized that she was a fallen angel, and he told her that if she caused problems, he will eliminate her from the face of the earth. And she's afraid of Issei. Like, she took a big risk now, because actually she doesn't know that if she offended Issei or anything like that here. So she's gonna keep her distance for right now. A few days will actually pass as a person called Freed would actually be breaking into actually this person's house, while also setting up a barrier around the house so none of the families can also get out. Freed has actually realized that these family has been into contact with the devils and he wants to actually kill them. So he was searched actually the house and he couldn't find anyone. But once he reached downstairs living room, he would see issei sitting there sipping on a coffee cup. And this is where Freed would actually ask who was he. Issei said that his name was not important and he told Freed to leave now. Freed would take out his gun and he would fire at issei, but issei stood there as the bullet actually was just 5 inches away from him as it just stopped. Freed just looks on in shock as the bullet turns around and shot towards Freed, grazing him on his cheek. Freed got so mad that he actually evoked his actually light sword and he charged towards issei with a downward strike, but Freed was actually frozen in time and issei would just knock Freed out unconscious. Issei would sigh and he would pick Freed up and he would arrive at the church. Issei would actually blast the door wide open as the exorcist and the priest that was actually in there, they were just shocked. And they actually asked who was actually issei, as issei didn't say anything. They immediately actually just got their weapons out and charged towards issei, but issei will wave his actually wrist, and of course they will all fall unconscious on the ground. This is when he will look towards actually the fallen angels as they feel fear. As issei, the look in issei's eyes, it shows that of power, it shows that of dominance here. Issei actually walked towards them and he told them right there that he will give them an option, that they can either live or die. And of course the fallen angels would actually say who was he, what was he doing here. Issei told them actually that he cannot actually have them in his hometown no more. And he tells them actually that either they can die right here or now, or they can actually go ahead and leave and never return to this hometown again. As he said this, the fallen angel, they were liking Issei's tone. This is where they will actually charge towards him, but Reina tries to stop them, saying that they can't defeat him. But it was already too late. Issei could actually done seek, and he would already be in bits. Moving so fast, he could also Milty as well, and also catch this blue-haired fallen angel. I don't know who she is. Of course, she would be in shock and ask who was he. Issei didn't hold anything back as he actually appeared behind of the fallen angel blue-haired woman before impaling her with actually a holy light spear. This is actually where Reina will be looking in shock, and Issei looks at her before walking up towards her. She actually begs Issei to spare her life, and Issei says to get out of his hometown and never to return again. This is where Reina would actually leave, and of course, she will also actually never return. Issei would actually take the exorcist that he will also knock down on the floor and return them back to the church.